Did you think Chicago was just playing around? Wrong! The front office will betray a key player in 72 hours. And only here will you find out why. Meanwhile, Ben Johnson has gone into war mode with a weapon the NFL cannot stop. Imagine a hybrid of Megatron and Gronk in navy and orange. Too late. And pay attention. A defensive leader broke the silence. Extreme sessions in the Nevada desert. This is not a rebuild. This is a revolution. 3 bombs, 0 filters. If you're not subscribed, you'll be the only one in Illinois not knowing what happened with Kmet. How the coordinator will shatter records, or why your favorite cornerback went wild. Like it, or the fans will mark you as a traitor. Subscribe. Chicago doesn't forgive those who fall behind. I can't believe what they're considering at Hallis Hall. Pause. Cole Kmet, our tight end who has been a key piece in this offense, might be swapping navy and orange for powder blue and gold. The Los Angeles Chargers are interested, and I'll tell you this is no coincidence. Do you remember when we drafted Colston Loveland in the first round? I think Ryan Poles had this plan since then. Corey Woodruff of For the Win is reporting that Chicago might send Kmet and a 2026 6th-round pick to Los Angeles for a 2026 4th-round pick. They're crazy! But do you want to know what I find the smartest about this move? Poles is thinking 3 steps ahead. Loveland comes from Michigan with an impressive pedigree. In his last college season, the guy had 58 receptions for 649 yards and 5 touchdowns. And that's playing in the Big Ten, where defenses are brutal. Ben Johnson already compared Loveland with Sam Laporta, and I'll tell you this. Laporta was a machine in Detroit. 86 receptions for 889 yards and 10 touchdowns in his rookie season. If Johnson sees those same traits in Loveland, why do we need Kmet on the bench? Kmet comes off a season where he caught 47 passes for 474 yards and 4 touchdowns. In 2023, it was 73 receptions for 719 yards and 6 touchdowns. The guy produces, but here's the detail many aren't seeing. Kmet has never had an offense designed specifically to maximize his potential. In Chicago, Kmet was the safety valve for Justin Fields and then for Caleb Williams. In Los Angeles, with Justin Herbert throwing the ball and Greg Roman designing plays, this guy can become the tight end we all expected him to be. Roman knows how to use tight ends. Remember Mark Andrews in Baltimore. That was Roman's system. The Chargers desperately need a reliable tight end. Will Dissly is not the long-term answer, and Kmet at 26 is in his prime. Herbert is a quarterback who relies on his tight ends for 3rd down conversions, and Kmet is exactly that kind of player. But do you know what's the craziest part? That Chicago would regain draft capital by moving up from a 6th to a 4th round. That's not just making room on the roster, that's smart management. Poles is showing that every pick counts when you're building a contender. I think this move benefits everyone. Kmet goes to a system where he can shine, Los Angeles gets their starting tight end, and Chicago hands the keys entirely to Loveland while recovering draft capital. Chicago is not playing. If that surprises you, wait to hear this. Ben Johnson has something in his hands that he never had in Detroit, and that something is named Rome Odunze. I'm telling you, this guy is going to revolutionize the way we view Chicago's offense. Did you remember how Johnson used Amon-Ra St. Brown in Detroit? Well, forget about that, because Odunze brings a completely different dimension. Johnson himself said, it's not going to look like it did in Detroit. We have a completely different personnel group. That's navy and orange, baby. Do you know what the big difference is? Johnson never had a physically dominant X-receiver. In Detroit, Josh Reynolds and Tim Patrick brought some of that, but not at the level Odunze handles. Reynolds was 6'3" and weighed 196 pounds. Patrick, 6'4" and 212 pounds. Odunze is 6'3", but weighs 220 pounds of pure muscle. The difference is abysmal. In Detroit, Johnson had to be creative with smaller, quicker receivers. Now he has someone who can physically dominate cornerbacks in the air. I believe this will change the entire playbook. Odunze had a 72.2% contested catch rate last season, second among 88 receivers with more than 50 targets. No way! This guy is a nightmare for defenses in the red zone and in one-on-one situations. But do you know what's the craziest part? All of Odunze's touchdowns in his rookie season were in the red zone. All of them. That's no coincidence. That's a guy who knows how to use his physique when it matters most. With Johnson designing plays specifically to exploit that advantage, the numbers are going to be ridiculous. In play-action situations, where Johnson shined in Detroit, Odunze will constantly get one-on-one looks. Can you imagine Caleb Williams with a clean pocket throwing a fade to Odunze with a 5'10" cornerback trying to cover him? It's automatic touchdown. But do you know what's the most frustrating? Last year, Odunze was used as a one-trick pony. He was lined up outside 65.8% of his snaps. Johnson is already talking about moving all the receivers across the formation. I ask you, can you imagine Odunze creating mismatches from the slot? Chicago is not playing. Odunze ran 547 routes last season and led the team, with 58 go-fly, comeback, or deep double move routes. Do you know what that means? That the guy only ran basic routes. His college route tree shows he can run any route in the book. They criminally misused him. Odunze himself said he's enjoying putting people in different positions to succeed. And I feel like even providing new ways for me that are like, okay, yeah, I can do that. He gives a unique perspective in that regard. Johnson already mentioned using DJ Moore and rookie Luther Burden III in that power slot role he loved using with Amon-Ra St. Brown. But you know what? Odunze can do that too. And when he does, he'll be unstoppable. Imagine this, trips formation with Moore in the slot, Burden outside, and Odunze in the inner slot. What linebacker can cover Odunze on a crossing route? It's a guaranteed mismatch. I'll tell you this, when a second-year receiver talks like that about his coordinator, something special is happening. Johnson has the piece he was missing to take his offense to the next level, and that piece is Rome Odunze. But Chicago isn't finished. Jaylon Johnson, our star cornerback, is doing something he has never done in his career. And this has me completely excited. This guy who 3 months ago said, I've been through this too many times, is now completely bought in with Ben Johnson. Do you remember when Johnson said he would wait until November and December to get excited? The guy literally said, I'll get excited when we win in November and December. And when we change some things and make the playoffs, that's when I'll get excited. Do you know why Johnson was so skeptical? Because the guy has seen 3 different regimes in Chicago. He's seen broken promises, systems that don't work, and coordinators who don't understand how to maximize talent. Johnson had lost faith, and I don't blame him. But something changed. Something fundamental changed in the mind of one of our defensive leaders, and that tells me what's happening at Halas Hall is different this time. The guy can't wait anymore. He has organized training sessions with other cornerbacks like Terrell Smith, Tyreek Stevenson, and the safeties at UNLV. His brother Johnny, who is a fitness trainer, donated his time for this work. Johnson told Cassie Carlson of Fox 32, "It's definitely been my first time since getting to the league and coming into the building with Chicago. I can't believe what I'm hearing. This guy who always was selective with his off-season training is now leading group sessions. But do you know what I find most incredible? That Johnson isn't just training, he's leading. He's organizing Terrell Smith, Tyreek Stevenson, Jaquan Brisker, and Kyler Gordon. He's creating chemistry before formal training begins. This is what great leaders do. They don't wait to be told what to do. They take the initiative. Johnson is sending a clear message. If I'm willing to do this, you're going to do it too. And do you know what's the craziest part? That this group training is happening at UNLV, not Chicago's facilities. Johnson is literally coordinating a mini defensive camp on his own. That's leadership on another level. But do you know what I like best? Johnson wants 10 takeaways this season, 7 interceptions, and 3 forced fumbles, and to be first-team All-Pro after being second-team. With Dennis Allen and this man-to-man coverage system, Johnson will get the opportunities he needs. Allen is known for putting his cornerbacks in one-on-one situations. In New Orleans, Marshawn Lattimore had 5 interceptions in his rookie season. Under Allen, Johnson is better than Lattimore and with more experience. 10 takeaways aren't just possible, they're probable. And do you know why Johnson is so bought in now? He explained it himself. I really think just him setting the tone with how he operates across the building and with the guys in the locker room, I feel like for us, we know the standard he's setting. We know what high-level football looks like, of course, where he's from, where Dennis Allen's from, and different things like that. Johnson is seeing real competition. He's seeing a coach who came from turning Detroit into the best offense in the league. He's seeing Dennis Allen, who developed one of the best defenses in New Orleans. For the first time in years, Johnson sees a staff that really knows what it's doing. This is the accountability players, especially Johnson, after confronting Matt Eberflus in the Thanksgiving locker room in Detroit last year, wanted to see. Johnson said, "I don't feel like it's going to be a staff where we can try to blame someone else and different things like that. It will be really cleared and clean for us, and we just have to go out there and win." Do you remember that moment in Detroit? Johnson literally stood in the locker room and told Eberflus that coaching decisions were costing games. That was the moment where Johnson showed he wouldn't accept mediocrity. Now, with Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen, Jaylon Johnson sees a staff that won't make excuses. He sees coaches who will be as demanding of themselves as they are of players. That's the difference between a winning staff and a losing one. I'll tell you this, these three stories are connected in a way that goes beyond coincidence. Pose is making smart moves with Kmet, freeing up space and resources to maximize Loveland's potential. Johnson has a secret weapon with Odunze that will revolutionize the offense in a way we could never imagine in Detroit. And our defensive leader is completely bought in, not just participating, but leading the cultural transformation. Do you think this is coincidence? I believe Chicago finally has a real identity. We have a general manager who thinks strategically, an offensive coordinator who knows how to maximize unique talent, and a defensive leader who is willing to do whatever it takes to win. This is the recipe for success, family. Smart moves in, the front office, tactical creativity on the field, and authentic leadership in the locker room. Chicago is building something special, and we will witness every step. What do you think about the potential Kmet trade? Are you excited to see Rome, Odunze and Johnson's full scheme? And what do you think of this new attitude from Jaylon Johnson? Leave me your comments because this Bears community is a family, and I want to hear what you think about these moves that can change the franchise's course. If you think Chicago is finally doing things right, like this video. If you want to be part of this Navy and Orange family, subscribe to the channel because tomorrow we'll have more explosive news you can't miss. Chicago is back, and we're going to be here to cover every move. Bear down, Chicago Bears, and see you in the next video with more news that will keep you on the edge of your seats. They a Bears.